Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today I'm going to be doing the winning title tag. This is a tag that was created by Heather Reads, where you get to talk about books where the title made you buy them. You can either get together a stack of books and talk through them or answer the questions below, whichever works for you. I was tagged by Will Chambers at Will Chambers 8065. So here we go. Have you ever bought a book because it had a funny title? I don't think so. I don't think I've ever bought a book because of a funny title, but I did find some books with funny titles, and one that kind of made me laugh was a book called Still Stripping After 25 Years by Eleanor Burns. And this is actually a book about strip quilting. I have never seen the book. I just read about it and it made me laugh. And apparently this is an anniversary book for her for 25 years in the strip quilting. I don't know if it was the 25th anniversary of the first book she wrote about it, but it struck me as a very funny title. Still Stripping After 25 Years. Number two, have you ever bought a book because it had a shocking title? Again, I'm going to say no, but I do have a book this is just the cover of the book on my Kindle, the title of which shocks me every time I see it. I haven't bought this book and I haven't read this book, although I have seen people review it on BookTube. This is the actress Jeanette McCurdy's memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, which is supposed to actually be quite a humorous book. I don't know anything about the book. The title I just find very shocking, and it catches my attention every time I see it. Okay, the rest of these are books that I have read. Have you ever bought a book because it had a title that sounded like a line of poetry? That's more like something I would do, but I haven't bought books because their titles sound like a line of poetry, but I have a lot of books whose titles come from poetry. So I thought I would just talk about a few of those. I'm always getting J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye into my videos whenever I can, along with my friend Angelia at Read and Reread. This title comes from poetry. Holden, in the novel, hears a little boy reciting the lines from a Robert Burns poem, Coming Through the Rye. But the little boy recites the lines incorrectly. The little kid is saying, if a body catch a body coming through the rye, and that's where the title comes from, Catcher in the Rye. But the actual line in the poem is, if a body meet a body coming through the rye. So the title is based on a kid who incorrectly recites a line of Robert Burns' poetry. I also have Louise Penny, one of my favorite mystery authors. I think this is the second in the series, The Cruelest Month. And The Cruelest Month, of course, comes from T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. April is the cruelest month, breeding lilacs out of the dead land, mixing memory and desire. So Louise Penny's title, The Cruelest Month, comes from T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. And then I also have, as we're going into soon, Faulkner in August, William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury. And this title comes from Shakespeare. Okay, this comes from Macbeth's soliloquy, which begins tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, which is also a title of a relatively recent novel. But the soliloquy ends by Macbeth saying that life is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Okay. Have you ever bought a book because it had a title which made me ask a question? Well, again, no, because I don't buy books based on titles, but I have a lot of books that ask questions in the title. Last year, many of us were rereading this book from adolescence, Judy Blume's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. This was a special edition that came out. Then there's a memoir that I've been talking about a lot this spring, and this is Nuala of Fhuelan's memoir, Are You Somebody? And then I have several little kids in my life, and I make videos of me reading them stories. And there's a wonderful series that's very popular with some of my little friends and relatives, and that's the How Do Dinosaurs series. So I have How Do Dinosaurs Clean Their Rooms? I made a video on this. And How Do Dinosaurs Show Good Manners? It's a terrific kids series. So those are some very important questions. Okay, moving on. Have you ever bought a book because it has a heartwarming or homely title? I don't know if that's supposed to be homely or homey title. What I came up with was a heartwarming novel. I don't know that the title is so heartwarming, but the novel certainly was. And that's Shelby Van Pelt's Remarkably Bright Creatures. And an octopus is one of the main characters in this novel. And I was very skeptical going into this novel, and then I just adored the story. Heartwarming for sure. Okay. Have you ever bought a book because it had a title with an unusual combination of words? Well, the book that I picked was one that I read for the Octofinals in the BookTube Award, the BookTube Prize judging. And my first round, the Octofinals, I had nonfiction, and one of the books that I read was Ilyan Wu's Master, Slave, Husband, Wife. And I certainly do think that that's an interesting title and an interesting combination of nouns: master, slave, husband, wife. And in this story, this is a true story, this tells about the lives of two enslaved people who are in fact a husband and wife, and then they run away, and they do so while under disguise, and the wife and the woman in this pair poses as a white man, and her husband is running away with her. He is posing as her slave. So, master, slave, husband, wife. You have a lot of roles being interchanged here. Tells just an incredible story of two people who did escape from slavery. Number 7, have you ever bought a book because it had a fantastic or magical title? I have here a memoir by the doctor, James R. Doty, and this is called Into the Magic Shop. And this is actually his life story. He became a neurosurgeon, but early in his life, in his childhood, he actually did wander into a magic shop, and he met someone. I mean, he had a very, very troubled home life and a very troubled childhood, and as a boy he wandered into a magic shop and met a woman there named Ruth, who taught him some incredible skills. They were not magic skills. They were different ways of thinking and meditating, and ways to ease his suffering in his family life. So, Into the Magic Shop. Number 8, have you ever bought a book because it has a title which is a contradiction or which describes the impossible? Well, this is not a book that I bought, but it's a book that I own, and this was my mother's book, and this is a first edition of Irving Stone's The Agony and the Ecstasy. This was published in 1961, and this was my mother's first edition. She purchased it that year, and this is, it's a novel, but it is the story of the artist's life, the artist Michelangelo. And the title, The Agony and the Ecstasy, seems to convey, two contradictory terms, or almost a paradox, if you will. But it captures the idea that this life story, this master artist's life story, is going to convey, is going to contain extreme highs and crushing lows as well. So we go through the euphoria of the artist at when he is creating, and we go through the absolute despondency that he experiences at other times. He was antisocial, he fought horribly with his patrons, so we go through these extremes, these contradictory feeling states. So that was the best book that I could think of. It's not one that I bought. It is one that I have come to own. It was one of my mother's favorite novels. Okay, and number 9, tag some people. If you are watching this and this interests you, I hope that you will consider yourself tagged, and please do this tag. But I'm also going to name a bunch of people as well, and I hope that everybody that I name, I hope that you will feel fully invited, but no pressure from me. So I'm tagging Genre Books 23, Ellen Made Book Club, Beyond Books, Quaint and Curious Volumes, Melinda at A Web of Stories, Angelia at Read and Reread, Stuart Griffin, My Messy Bookshelf, An Enthusiastic Reader, Book Buds, Bokens and Books, Cobalt Dragon, Through the Pages with D, Jess Book Girl TV, Books and Bocadillos, Spread Book Joy, The Library Mouse, Gina. The Grape Jelly Library, read by Fred. My Reading Life, Hannah's Books, Jenny Parks, Faceless Book Reviews, Cliff's Dark Gems, and Bookish Chaz. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.